What if George Washington never became president? Imagine the year is 1789. The Revolutionary War is over. The colonies have won independence. A fragile nation is born. But freedom is not the end. It is only the beginning. 13 states, each with their own interests. Some rich, some poor. Some with slavery, some against it. All suspicious of each other. The new Constitution has just been written. It is untested. It is fragile. And many people already doubt if it can survive. America needs a leader. Someone strong. Someone trusted. Someone who can unite farmers and merchants, Northerners and Southerners, the wealthy elite and the struggling poor. And for almost everyone, the answer is clear: George Washington. Washington in our reality. In real history, Washington accepted. He became the first president of the United States. He built the cabinet. He helped stabilize the economy. He set the precedent for a peaceful transfer of power. And perhaps most importantly, after 2 terms, he stepped down. He showed the world that power could be given back. That America would not be a monarchy. That leaders could serve the people, not rule them forever. This single act made him the father of the nation. But let's imagine another reality. A world where George Washington says, "No, I will not serve." Without Washington, who would step in? John Adams? Intelligent and principled, but deeply unpopular and often mistrusted. Thomas Jefferson? A brilliant writer, a visionary thinker, but far too radical for many states at the time. Alexander Hamilton? A genius in finance, but distrusted, accused of wanting too much power. Each of these men was capable, but none commanded universal trust. None had the same reputation as Washington. Without him, the presidency would have begun under suspicion. Half the country would not trust the leader. Political factions would form immediately. Federalists versus anti-federalists. North versus South. State against state. Instead of unity, America's birth would begin with division. A fragile constitution. It's important to remember just how weak the United States was in 1789. The treasury was empty. The nation was drowning in debt from the war. The army was small and poorly supplied. The government had almost no real power over the states. The Constitution was brand new, and many believed it would fail. Some states were already talking about leaving the Union. It was Washington's personal reputation, his trust, his authority, his leadership, that convinced people to give the Constitution a chance. Without him, the foundation of the United States might have collapsed before it was ever tested. Foreign powers waiting. And then there were the enemies outside. Britain had not given up hope. Many leaders in London believed the United States would fall apart on its own. France wanted repayment for the war and influence over the new nation. Spain controlled the Mississippi River and vast western lands. If Washington had not united America, foreign powers might have exploited the weakness. Britain could have taken back lost territories. Spain might have blocked trade on the Mississippi. France could have interfered in American politics, just as it did in Europe. Instead of an independent, united nation, America could have become a collection of weak states, easy prey for stronger empires. The first fractures. Imagine the early years without Washington. Political fights in Congress grow bitter. Northern and Southern states argue over slavery and trade. Western farmers distrust the wealthy elites in the East. There is no respected figure to calm the storms. One by one, states begin to pull away. The fragile union begins to crack. Instead of the United States of America, history might have given us 3, 4, or even 5 separate countries on the continent. A northern republic built on commerce and shipping. A southern confederacy tied to slavery and plantations. Western territories declaring independence. And maybe New England breaking away entirely. The dream of one nation dies before it even begins. And this is only the beginning of the story. Because if Washington had refused the presidency, the entire future of America, and the world, would have looked very different. The America without Washington. Now let's step fully into this alternate reality. Washington refuses the presidency. Someone else takes the office, Adams, Jefferson, or Hamilton. From the very first day, the government is weaker. The people are divided. Factions grow powerful. The Constitution struggles to survive. A nation splits. Within a decade, cracks widen. The South threatens secession over slavery and trade. The North focuses on industry and commerce. Western settlers demand freedom from Eastern control. By the early 1800s, the Constitution collapses. The Union breaks apart. Instead of one United States, the continent becomes a patchwork of nations. The Northern Republic, small, industrial, looking toward Europe for trade. The Southern Confederacy, wealthy in plantations, dependent on slavery. Independent Western states, constantly fighting over borders. And maybe New England separating as well, tied more to Britain than to the South. The dream of one united country is gone. The world without a superpower. What does this mean for history? First, Europe breathes a sigh of relief. Britain, France, Spain, they see America as a failed experiment. Republics do not work, they say. Kings and queens feel safe again. Without a powerful United States, monarchies remain stronger for longer. The wave of democracy across the 19th century is slowed. And then, the world wars look very different. In World War I, there is no united America to tip the balance in 1917. In World War II, there is no United States to lead the Allies in 1941. Would democracy have survived the 20th century? Or would Europe have fallen permanently under empires and dictatorships? The Cold War that never was. And think about the Cold War. No single United States strong enough to challenge the Soviet Union. Instead, smaller American republics, each too weak to lead. The balance of power shifts. The Soviet Union spreads influence across the globe. Communism, not democracy, becomes the dominant force of the century. The world we know today would be unrecognizable. Life today. Imagine living in that alternate present. Instead of one United States, there are 4 separate countries. The Northern Republic, modern, industrial, but small. The Southern Confederacy, still struggling with the legacy of slavery. Independent Western states, rich in land but weak in power. And New England, more tied to Europe than to the rest of America. None of them are strong enough to lead the world. None of them are powerful enough to create the modern idea of freedom and democracy. No global superpower. No land of the free. A weaker, divided world. The lesson of history. But history did not go that way. George Washington did accept the presidency. And after 2 terms, he gave up power. That single act set the foundation of American democracy. It proved that leaders could serve, then step down. It proved that power could pass peacefully. It gave the young republic stability when it needed it most. One man's choice changed everything. Final words. The survival of the United States once depended on a single decision. Washington could have refused. He could have chased power. He could have let the nation fall apart. But instead, he served, and then he walked away. That choice shaped the destiny of America. That choice shaped the future of the world. One man. One decision. And the birth of a nation.